Thank you, Madam Speaker. 2 years ago, the then Minister of Good Governance mentioned that there were plans to sell NIC to SICOM. So may I know from the Honourable Prime Minister whether there is any intention of disposing NIC or Mobank to other government-owned companies like SICOM?
This, I must say, is not being envisaged.
B690.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that as from January 2014 to date, 16 cases of stirring up racial hatred have been reported to the police. The yearly breakdown of reported cases is as follows: 2014, 1 case; 2015, 5 cases; 2016, 1 case; 2017, 2 cases; 2018, 4 cases; and January 2019 to date, 3 cases. Regarding parts A and B of the question, I am further informed that 8 persons have been arrested, out of whom 4 have been convicted. As regards the other 4 persons, inquiry is still on.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It was widely reported that on 24th of May 2019, at least 2 complaints were recorded against Honourable Anil Gayan for allegedly stirring up racial hatred. I know from the Honourable Prime Minister whether there has been any arrests in connection with these reported cases to date.
Well, I don't have that information. If the Honourable Minister, the Honourable Member can come with a specific question, I'll get the information, I'll answer it.
She knows about the number of arrests. So I just wanted to know, out of the 8 persons arrested, whether that included anyone from government.
Well, I have a long list of people who have been arrested and inquiry been made, but I don't know whether these 2 persons, their names have been included. If you want me to produce all the list, I am prepared to do it.
In answer to a PNQ on 14th of November 2017, the Honourable Prime Minister mentioned that there were 6 cases have been reported against Honourable students in relation to alleged acts of stirring up racial hatreds. May I know what happened to these 6 cases, reported cases of alleged acts of stirring up racial hatreds against Honourable students?
Well, all these cases, well, I have answered how many, there have been inquiry, conviction, others inquiry still on. How can I say?
B691.
Madam Speaker, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that there have been 81 reported cases related to damages to temples, churches, mosques, pagodas, and other places of worship for the period 2014 to date as follows: 2014, 8 cases; 2016, 15 cases; 2016, 11 cases; 2017, 14 cases; 2018, 19 cases; and as from January 2019 to date, 14 cases. Madam Speaker, as regards parts A and B of the question, I am further informed that there have been 16 arrests affected and 7 convictions secured.
In 7 September 2015, following the Several temples, Coville, mosques were vandalized in the south. The Right Honorable Minister Mentor, who was then Prime Minister, stated, and I quote, nous sommes un État de droit et la loi sera appliquée dans toute sa rigueur. Les coupables devront aller en prison. I know from the Honorable Prime Minister, he mentioned that there were 4 convictions. Does he have details about anyone being sent in prison for these offenses?
Well, what I said was what I believe, but I don't try these people, I don't convict them, and I don't sentence them. So it's for the court. I hope the court is going to be very severe in such cases. Had I been a judge or a magistrate, I would have been very, very severe in such matters.
So, at the moment, the punishment is relatively low under Section 185 of the Criminal Code, outrage on religious worship. The maximum penalty is 100,000 rupees and imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. So is the government envisaging coming forward with legislation to toughen the sanction against perpetrators of these outrage to religious worship places?
Well, my whole impression is that the courts in many cases are very lenient. Already what is provided are not being applied. 2 years, I'm sure most of the courts must not be applying it. So making it more severe? Well, one thing we can do, put a minimum and a maximum. Then the court will be bound to put at least the minimum. I'll look into this.
Mr. Mentor mentioned 4 convictions. My question was, out of these 4 convictions, do you have the information whether anyone was sent to prison, or does magistrate just impose fine in relation to these convictions?
Well, I'm trying to find out. Well, in one case I see accused sentenced to 6 months imprisonment plus 300 rupees cost. In a second case, accused has been sentenced to 2 years probation. This is very gentle. And 100 rupees cost. Well, in one case I see absolute discharge. So, you see how the courts are lenient?
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister has on a number of occasions stated that he has information about people who are deliberately, and I quote, l'objectif de profaner des lieux de culte en vue de déstabiliser l'harmonie sociale du pays et d'attiser la haine. And if this is the case, have he tried to inquire from SME Mauritius the reason for this drastic reduction in sales?
There are 2 answers to that. Firstly, as I say, in the figures that I have provided in the table, an amount of around 3.5 million rupees of product has been supplied to Mauritius duty-free paradise. Secondly, the drop in sales has occurred at the moment when the hologram was introduced on the products. It was alleged previously that there were products that were not manufactured locally, or did not have considerable amount of value addition. Okay, this has created a drop in the sales. Because the allocation of hologram to the artisans undergoes very critical tests, and many of them do not pass the test.
Bouncing back on this, the Honourable Minister just stated, and this is what I wanted to hear, that there were allegations that goods which were not manufactured by SMEs in Mauritius were being sold in the aircraft shop. And this is the reason why these sales were not accounted for. So may I know, in the light of this information that the Minister has there been any sanction taken against any shop assistant working in the airport of Mauritius? Aircraft shop?
In as far as we have, SME Mauritius has received information, appropriate inquiries have been conducted, but we cannot pinpoint any artisan or any supplier with that particular problem that have occurred in the past over there.
Has the attention of the Honourable Minister been drawn to the scandal around the missing tourist vouchers? As the Honourable Minister is aware, tourists are supposed to get a 200 rupee rebate whenever they spend 1,000 rupees. But apparently in the airport shop, the sales figure does not tally with the receipt, and the reason for that is missing tourist vouchers.
No, I'm not aware, but I will inquire on that.
A last question. With regard to procurement, has the Honourable Minister's attention been drawn to the fact that there used to be over 300 registered artisans, out of which 125 were regular suppliers of product at airport craft shop, but today the number of artisans selling their product has been reduced to only 40. So is the Honourable Minister aware of this, and if he's not, will he inquire to find out why there has been a drastic reduction in the number of suppliers?
Well, again, firstly, this is a question of hologram, because each and every product which is offered for sale over there carry a hologram. Secondly, there are new entrants. Okay, by virtue of their creativity, aesthetic, and uniqueness, there are new entrants and new products over there, new artisans have come to the market now.
Next question.
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Minister has just mentioned that the increase in fees is to meet the increased cost of operation and to meet international norms by the FSC. But isn't it the truth that, in fact, the reason why the FSC is having to increase the fees is because the reserves of the FSC has been completely depleted by the government's decision to transfer an additional 300 million rupees in this year's budget to meet government expenditures?
Madam Speaker, I don't agree with this, because the reserves, the surpluses generated are for activities prior to this increase. So the FSC cannot survive on past results. It has to forecast what will be the operating costs in the future and what sort of revenue it will have to generate to be able to meet the operating costs in the future, not in the past.
Next question.